Hi, everybody. I'm here this afternoon with Anna Hewitt. Anna Hewitt is currently training with In Good Company in order to become a world-class qualified coach. And so I thought it's better for you to hear from people who have made the decision to train to be a coach and chosen. So, Anna, thanks so much for joining me. Tell everybody a little bit about you and where you were in your life when you were thinking about and then ultimately decided to train to be a coach, and then why us?
Yeah, well, thank you, first of all, for the opportunity to kind of share my experience of training with you guys. My background is in corporate HR. I was an HR director for about 10 years, working for kind of small, medium-sized organizations that were kind of scaling and growing quickly. And always part of my role was kind of coaching, but maybe I didn't know it at the time, but I definitely was kind of using those skills to support the leadership team and think about how we grow and develop the talent within the business. And yeah, I kind of about nearly 2 years ago now, so in July 2020, I took the decision to actually step out of my in-house role, really kind of in search of something else. And that was probably the kind of, I didn't have a hugely structured plan. I knew I had some ideas about what I wanted to do, but that was probably the kind of leapfrog into working for myself, developing my own business, and ultimately training to become a coach.
So, I mean, I remember our kind of initial conversation, and obviously you were, there's a hesitancy there about investing this sum of money into, training with people that you've never met before. I don't think you knew anybody that had undertaken training with us. So how did you decide? How did you choose us?
Yeah, I've had coaching in the past. So I've had probably coaching maybe 3 times during my career. I've also commissioned coaching as an HR director. So I was kind of signed up to coaching as a kind of philosophy, as a way of developing talent. And when I left my corporate role, I was doing some associate work where I was using coaching skills, and I was just loving it. I was just really finding my stride, finding my feet. And so I started, like everyone does, put it into Google, kind of coaching courses, and was just overwhelmed by, the terminology, the difference between accreditation and certification, the kind of unregulated nature of it. But then there was a lot of process. So was really kind of confused and overwhelmed as to kind of where to start. And I think I came across In Good Company and you and Zoe, and a lot of that was just simplified for me and just made really accessible, really easy to understand. Obviously we had a conversation about where I was and how this would serve my career, and it was actually a really easy decision for me. I'm naturally not someone that when I'm making a purchasing decision, I look at all the specifics and I compare lots of things. I go with my gut. And it was just it just felt very aligned in terms of how you guys approach the course and what I was looking to get out of it.
And you've definitely made the most of it. I mean, we've got to know you really well during the course. So the phase that you're at the moment is you've had access to the learning platform and all the materials there. You've completed the 24 lessons because you're doing the level 7, that master's level coaching qualification. So all of those kind of group sessions with your peers in your cohort. And now I'm supporting you with 3 others. In a group supervision. I was just thinking how many are in yours, because you're doing your coaching practice hours now, picking up those hours to get your qualification and also to work towards your individual coach accreditation, which comes after your coaching qualification. So which cohort did you join, Anna? Maybe share with people so get an idea of timescale.
Yeah, so I started in this cohort that we're talking about,
the March one.
March 2021, and I was on the Wednesday morning. So from March to October, we had our weekly 2 hours every Wednesday for our lessons.
2.5 hours.
Two and a
That's
half
how quick.
I wish it was 3. And yeah, and I took the decision, you know, we talked about this, but I took the decision to start my practice hours sort of probably about halfway through the kind of Wednesday lesson. So I'm about kind of 55 hours into practice now. So I'm like in. And, you know, assignment writing and supervision. So I feel really, you know, in 12 months, in less than 12 months, I am like fully, you know, submersed into the coaching world.
And you submitted your assignment 1 today, didn't you? So that's,
Yes.
will be a pass, and you'll find that out. Yep, you know, ASAP. And then the next bits for you, obviously you've been keeping your coaching diary as you've been going along, doing your coaching practice hours. So you'll have some topping and tailing to do for assignment 2. And then assignment 3 is all about your experience, your journey as a coach, you know, your coach bio, your CPD plan, you know, beyond the point when you've completed your hours. So how, you know, how would you, what advice, I suppose, would you give to people who are thinking, you know, I'm not feeling so fulfilled in my role anymore, or as much as I want to be, and I've either had coaching and I feel like that's all the favorite bits of my job, or really play along to my strengths, and I'm thinking I want to do this, but can I do it? You know, all of those thoughts and questions that go through people's mind, like, will I have a niche? What would my niche be? Do I need to know all of that before I start to train a coach? All of those types of things. What would you say to people?
Well, everything will be okay. I suppose that's the first thing I would say, because you know, I'm naturally somebody who worries and, you know, doubts myself, and you know, I'm so proud of the progress that I've made over the last 11 months. And so if I can do it with all the kind of, you know, barriers that I sometimes put in the way, then I believe that anyone else can. I think, you know, when I was sort of making that decision around choosing the course, there were things there are things about the course now that I am so grateful for that weren't even on my radar at the beginning. And, you know, I think you and Zoe probably would have reassured us and said, look, this is here. And you think, well, in principle, that makes sense. But actually, how does that work in reality? So, for example, one of the, probably for me, the best thing about the course has been my cohort, who, you know, we couldn't be more different from an individual's perspective. You know, some of us are in-house, some of us are working independently. We're coming from different places in the world, with different ages, different backgrounds, but the level of support and cheerleading and encouragement has just made such, you know, a personal impact on me in terms of, and my progress and my ability to develop a business, you know, all of these things that are kind of incremental to, they're kind of outside of actually just training to become a coach. So to answer your question, you know, when you have those worries, there is just so much support available, and opportunities to kind of learn and grow, that those doubts fizzle away very, very quickly.
Yeah, and that's really nice to hear. And you know, every single cohort is special, and we had a group supervision session last week, and I've been doing quite a few of those recently, and it's just, to me, like, as a facilitator or co-facilitator with Zoe, and to see people, you know, from the initial conversations and what you think you want to get out of it, and you know, us knowing what the experience is going to be like, but you not knowing but hoping, and us also, you know, there to reassure you, but then to see you all go through the process, and the talent, you know, that comes out. Everybody comes in with strengths and talents anyway, obviously, but to see those coaching strengths really deepen, broaden, and you know, the whole kind of identity as a coach developed during the program and shaped by each other, you know, within the cohort, or the feedback you give each other, or the support and encouragement that you give, is really special. And we all say that there are relationships from your training that you do as a coach that will last forever. And you know, your story is very similar to mine. I was in a HRD role and I decided to train, you know, brought coaching in, decided to train to be a coach, decided to actually leave my job during the course of the training. So slightly different to you there, but you know, quite a bold decision at the time. And then to kind of follow, you know, the tenacity, the interest, the purpose, and really discover who I am as a coach. And that also can still evolve. But one of the main things that we want is for people to know that we are here to support you.
Yes.
You are definitely not a number on our program. You know, we know who you are, what you want, the support that you need. And say there's 2.5 hours with Zoe and I always hang back at the end of the calls, and sometimes people are like, I haven't got a question, I just don't want to miss any more. I want as much as I can get, please.
And I think, you know, it's interesting because, as you know, so part of what I do now is I work in the L&D space, and so also there's that, you know, I have a critical eye over how the course is delivered, and you know, and we've talked about this, and I've said, you know, how about this and how about that, and I think there's the way that you've structured the course. You know, first of all, it doesn't feel like you're kind of sheep dipping us through. You know, it feels really tailored to us. It feels really with us in mind as learners. But the pace at which we're learning is, you know, it's difficult to describe. You're almost able to kind of hold our anxieties and go, don't worry, we know, but just trust us and let us sort of take you through. And when we got towards the end of the course, and you know, you're almost like, oh, I wish I'd known that right at the beginning, but you can't know that right at the beginning because you have to go through the steps. And you know, that was so important to me. It was, you know, it was really important to me that I had training, that I felt that I had this toolkit. But equally now I'm a year on, when I'm coaching, it's much more, I have the confidence now to, yes, have the tools, but also to bring my own approach and style.
Yeah, and I think, you know, the experience of training, any training is a bit like that, isn't it? You know, there are those highs where you're like, oh my God, I really got that. I think I did a good job on that. I know I really love this. This is everything that I really love. And then there are those other moments where you think, so much to learn. Have I learned anything? You know, how am I going to be able to put all of this together? And often describing that as like a jigsaw puzzle has been tipped out on the table, and bit by bit you're putting it together. And part of the joy of it is actually how it keeps changing. So what you learn, and then you go back to it with what you now know, and it feels different. And then there's that experimentation of, and there's no one way to coach. It's important that we coach ethically, but actually the exciting thing is seeing how you develop, you know, as a coach. So your business steps into stride.
Yes.
Tell everybody a bit more about that and how they and where they can find you.
And I heard, so Steps and Strides is a name that came out of a coaching session, which I think is often the way, is, you know, there's light bulb moments in a coaching session. And, you know, for me, this is about, you know, how change happens, and, you know, that change starts with literally just taking those baby steps. And then before you know it, you're kind of, you know, taking those strides forward. So I'm now really passionate and excited about working with people that want that sort of change, that need the support and maybe a space to come and kind of work out what those next steps are. And what's really exciting is, you know, yes, I'm working with people on a one-to-one basis, but I'm also working with groups and teams, which just kind of fills my heart with joy, because I love that kind of energy that I get from a group. And it just feels purpose-led. I kind of doesn't feel like a job, which is like amazing. And really, you know, I'm really, really lucky to I feel very grateful to have that.
Yeah, and I share that too. So if anybody's watching and you're thinking, oh, that just sounds like me, that's me, I'm in that sort of a role, and I really, you know, am thinking into the future and about the contribution that I want to make, and I think coaching could be an option. I've seen lots of other people do it. How about me? Could I do it? And you want to find out more, you can see on the bottom of the video here, there's a little ticker. It tells you where you can find out more about our training. You can also reach out to me direct. Happy to set up a call with you and talk you through what might be the best match for you in terms of the level of qualification, because actually we just want to help people to find the right, you know, the right match for them. And I remember what it's like to be at the start of your kind of exploration into coaching and being confused about how do I decide, is that a real course? Is that got credibility, or is that a, you know, dodgy one? And I can really assure you that ours is rigorous, it has depth, it covers a broad range of coaching psychologies, and it is accredited with the European Mentoring Coaching Council and also the ICF, as well as being a qualification on the National Qualifications Framework. And you know, it's been such a pleasure to introduce you all to Anna. Anna also presented at our coaching summit, which the people who are part of our Coaching Crowd Business Lounge get to be part of. And when you sign up to our coaching training program, you also get access to our Coaching Crowd Business Lounge with all the steps you need to help you set up a successful and sustainable coaching business. So you get 12 months access if you join the level 7, 6 months access if you join the level 5. So check Anna out as well at Steps into Stride, see what she's doing there. It's, you know, it fills me with pride that we attract such talented people onto our programs. So thank you so much, Anna.
Brilliant, thank you.